Radio Bypass, bringing you rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. Discover new bands. Here's some old favorites on Radio Bypass.
Hey, Radio Bypass. We are back with another terrific chat we're about to have with a band that's new to us here at Radio Bypass, but I'm excited to present the band to you, and we've got a brand new song we're going to include in this interview from this band as well. Joining us today from the band Venrez is Ven. How are you, Ven?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to see you.
Same here. Good to talk with you. So I'm pretty excited. I got a chance to hear the song that we're going to play later on, and killer track. Really like it's very, it gets you thinking, I thought, lyrically too, as I was listening to it repeatedly. So anyway, I was excited to have the opportunity to speak with you and share your music with our audience. But because you're new to me, I'm thinking you're probably new to a lot of them too. Maybe there's some that know of you. So why don't you tell us the story, Venrez? You've been around a while, I know, but tell us about the band.
Yeah, well, the way it started, music has always been in my blood. I started singing, as far back as I can remember. I started playing piano and clarinet when I was 9. And, my dad became a successful cardiologist. And, we moved from the Northridge area to the kind of more uppity Encino area of the San Fernando Valley in LA. And I had a friend I was going to school with who played guitar pretty well. And he knew a couple rich kids, one in particular, had a rehearsal studio. He was a drummer. The other guy was a bass player. So we started jamming, and, in those days we were doing like David Bowie covers. And I don't know, after a couple days, his parents came into the rehearsal room, and they were like blown away at how good it sounded. And I like to remain humble, but, they really liked my vocal. Although, back at that time period, I was only 17, after a couple months, they all flaked out. And
As happened.
it was not the scene at that particular time in LA where you could really find some other musicians to continue on seriously. That was pretty much Europe and in the United Kingdom, but not LA. Of course, that changed a decade later. And so flash forward about 30 years, and I was one of my singer-songwriter friends moved in for a short period of time. We knew a lot of famous musicians. He did a lot of handyman work, and we had a mutual friend who was a keyboardist and producer who had a studio at his house. To kind of shorten it up a bit, my roommate Tommy had borrowed his electric drill. And so he called me midday when I was at work and said, "Hey, can I come over later and pick up the drill?" And I'm like, "Cool," because Tommy, my roommate, had gone up to Oregon to see his kids. And what I was doing at the time is I had a PA, and when I got home from work, I had a playlist, and a wireless microphone. And I would just jump around and dance and sing an hour set, which, was a lot of fun. It actually kept me in pretty good shape.
I imagine.
So I told Lance I'd leave the front door unlocked. And I think I was about halfway through. And, I sensed somebody was, near me. So I killed it and turned it around. And, these guys that know me a lot of years. And I never really let anybody know I could sing, after that situation. I mean, at this point, I was in almost 50 years old. So his jaw was like dropped almost to the floor, and he's like, "I didn't know you could sing like that. We're going in the studio." And I'm like, "No, we're not. I'm too old." Right? It's like,
never too old. Never too old.
We'll make it a hobby. They just they wouldn't leave me alone. So they got some musicians together, and this other guy was writing the music and the lyrics, and it was kind of lame, but it got me going. And then Tommy knew Jason Womack, who had amazing bassist and guitar player, and he'd been the bassist for Juliet Lewis and the Licks for 3 years plus, and had helped write a couple of her hits. And Tommy got him over there, kind of forced him to jam with us on a second guitar. And him and I just we were like soulmates right away. There was just kind of a chemistry between us. So we went out on my patio, and I'm like, "What do you want to do with the rest of your life, man?" And he's like, "I want to do music full time." And I said, "Okay, I do too." And we shook hands, and then I fired everybody.
Time to start over.
Yeah, and we sat down and wrote a record, kind of lickety split, and brought in some good players to record it. It was kind of a witch's brew of sorts. We called it Witch's Brew. It's not really Venrez. It was just kind of our freedom, right? Getting out from under playing with guys whose music and lyrics really sucked, and we had a few different versions, and then we brought in Ed Davis, who had been the former drummer from Juliet Lewis and the Licks. Jason was on lead guitar, and Michael Bradford, Jason's childhood friend from Jackson, Mississippi, on bass. And we had Don Teschner from Rod Stewart, on second guitar. I mean, he plays everything, mandolin, violin, viola, guitar, lap steel, incredible musician, good friend of mine. And they tricked me into playing a show, which I had refused to do.
Why did you not want to do it?
I just wanted to do it as a hobby, man. I just thought I was too old to be doing it. It was a lot of fun. I didn't take it serious, but it was fun playing with a lot of good guys. We think God laughs. So they tricked me to playing a show at the Key Club. First time I ever performed live, Saturday night, 10:30, absolutely sold out. And, the next thing I knew, I was touring with Alice Cooper. That's basically what happened. Although the first 2 tours were to Europe with LA Guns, when Jizzy was singing with Tracy before he reunited with Phil Lewis. And Don just didn't want to tour. And Alex Kane was going to tour manage us, and so he ended up playing guitar, tour managing us, and he stayed in the band. And that version toured together from 2010 through 2014. And
Gotcha.
and we were indie, so we've got 5 indie records out, only 4 we really recognize as Venrez. And then I got rid of the rhythm section around 2018 and decided to go, after I just saw what LA Guns was doing, bringing in Scotty Coogan on drums and Ace Van Johnson on guitar, and having these young, good-looking, great players go to the merch booth, And I thought, you know what? I need a young, killer rhythm section. So I got rid of that rhythm section, and about 4 years ago, and brought in Victor Singer on drums and Gabe Mask on bass, which has been our lineup ever since, right? And we ended up touring with, we did tour with Alice Cooper, Slash, Michael Schenker, Richie Ramone, a whole bunch of people, primarily in Europe. So the last tour was the last quarter of 2019, and we went on tour with LA Guns, but now, the version with Johnny Martin on bass, Scotty Coogan on drums, and Ace Van Johnson on guitar and Tracy Guns. And it was the first time we toured USA since 2013. And, now we're talking October on 2019.
Right.
And people were like, who the hell are these guys? I mean, we literally sold out all our merch after the 5th show. And we closed out the year at the Whiskey A Go-Go on New Year's Eve playing with LA Guns. And we went in the studio, recorded songs. It seemed like the sky was the limit. We had a lot of label interest. And then boom, March 17th, it was all over, with COVID.
Right.
So Jason and I just kept on writing. And when we got to April 2021, I started, I was just really depressed. I think everybody can relate to what they went through during all those lockdowns. And
Sure.
if you, obviously a lot of businesses were hurt, but, film and music were really hurt, which are my 2 careers.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be another year older in January. I don't know if I want to have to, we were on such a roll. If I want to lose 2 years, go out there and have to work another year or 2 to be to where we should be now, So Jason had come over. We put my vocal on another demo. So about the middle of April, 2021. And, I do all my vocals at home. We both have studios. And so, some hours went by and, my studio has the computer that with the recording studio he's working on. My office has another desk in the same room. And
Right.
while he was bouncing the track, I'm thinking, you know what? After I hear this track, I think I'm just going to tell him I'm done. And I log on to my email, and there's a recording contract offer from Pavement Entertainment. And I just kind of chuckled to myself. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess God has spoken. It's not over. It's just beginning, right?
I was just going to say, from the way your story's been going, I think you just know this is your destiny, right? I mean, this has to be. You keep trying to not be part of it, and you keep getting sucked back in.
Yeah, it's just divine intervention has been really a big part of it all along. So, there is a higher power that's controlling this destiny. So I said, hey, Jason, we got a record deal offer. So we ended up signing with them. We had a ton of songs, well over 70. But I sent them, they wanted to do a 6-song EP to start. So I sent them about 12 of what I thought were the better songs at the time. They picked 2 that my regular drummer, Victor Singer, had drummed on.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 4 they picked, we had to record. Although at that time, we were just returning minimally to businesses. Like the recording studios open, but you couldn't have more than 3 people in there at a time. But in France, because Victor's from France, they wouldn't let any French citizens leave the country, and all the studios were closed. So actually, Steve Perkins, the drummer from Jane's Addiction's a good friend of mine. And I called him up. And I said, hey, man, we just got a record deal. My drummer's stuck in France, and, we got to go in and record 4 tracks, and I got to get somebody to do the drums. I thought I'd call you first. And he's like, all right, man, let's session. So he's actually playing drums on the second radio single each and every day that you just heard, and we'll, I guess, play at the end of the show.
Right.
So the first radio single was Show Me, which hit number 2 on the Foundations chart, and it hit number 16 on the Billboard BDS. And then recently they got rid of those 2 charts, and now everything's the SMR rock chart. And on Tuesday, we will have cracked the top 40 with this single going into our 4th week. So again, I'm trying to be humble. Although to have 2 top 40 radio hits off a 6-song EP, that ain't chopped liver, I guess.
No, especially nowadays. Are you kidding me? That's pretty fantastic, really.
For a new band on the rise. So, yeah, the band rolled in here Friday. And we started rehearsing yesterday, and we'll rehearse through August 8th and the 9th. We're going to fly to Denver and get on the tour bus, then take our time to roll to Grand Island, Nebraska, where the Buckcherry tour will start on August 12th.
And we haven't mentioned that yet, but yeah, guys, they're going out in support of Buckcherry starting on the 12th. So, and you're doing quite a few dates. I thought I had them all listed down here, but I guess I don't. But you're going out for a while, right? With Buckcherry.
Yeah, we're going out for a while with them. Funny enough, LA Guns is also touring. They're on tour right now, and they're actually going to be on 3 of the dates. We're direct support on every show except for 3 that LA Guns will go on first. LA Guns and Buckcherry. I mean, what a opportunity for fans. I mean, we're kind of like a modern Alice in Chains on steroid, current kind of band.
Right.
Then you got this great 80s band in LA Guns. Then you got this amazing 90s band in Buckcherry. So those tickets are going to be worth every penny. So if any of you listening out there are anywhere near the first 4 shows of the tour, you're going to see one hell of a rock show. I think the first show's on the 12th, and then the show's on the 13th, 15th, and 16th of August. LA Guns is on those. So you can go to Venrez, Venrez, theband.com, and check the dates.
And I was glad that you said Venrez, because I've been mispronouncing it, thinking it's Venrez.
Well, we did that on purpose, because
to confuse guys like me.
Yeah, because we have so many people always arguing whether it's Venrez or Venrez. So I don't ever correct anybody. It is pronounced Venrez. It's spelled Venrez for a specific reason, but it's kind of worked to our advantage. I guess names are kind of a big thing for bands. I don't think so. A lot of people disagree with me. I think it's all about the songs, man.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always all about the songs. But
yeah.
But a good band name, I think, is still important too, though.
Yeah, it kind of is. I hated it. I didn't want it. It's a combination of my real first and last name, Stephen Beret. The band, when we were coming up with names, they said this is the way it's going to be, and I got outvoted, so I said okay. And then over a period of time, I got comfortable with it. But I'm really kind of a humble guy. You're not going to see me wearing my band T-shirt ever, especially on stage. And having it be a combination of my first and last name kind of crossed the line of my trying to be humble. But it's worked out, and I guess it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I would say it definitely worked out. Going back to the tour for just a second, because being that I'm from Chicago, a lot of people listening to this are there, and I thought I saw Chicago coming up. So, and it looks like you are at the Des Theater in Des Plaines, Illinois, on August 20th.
But we're at the Arcada Theater.
Yeah, I'm looking for that.
In St. Charles, that's on the 19th.
I thought, yeah, there it is. Yep. So there you go, guys, in Chicago. 2 chances to see them. Arcada on the 19th and Des Plaines on the 20th. So that'll be pretty cool. But again,
those are going to be those might be the 2.
Nebraska.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean those 2 shows at the Arcada and Des Plaines those might be the 2 best shows of the entire tour.
Yeah, great places, and working with Ron Arnesti is great too. So you'll have a good experience for sure. Have you played either of those venues before?
Yeah, I played them both in the past. Yeah, with Alice Cooper and also with Slash and some other artists. I'm really looking forward to getting back there. One of my favorite venues is actually in St. Louis, Missouri. The Pageant Theater is a great place, and I played there with Alice Cooper and Slash too. Yeah, I can't wait to get back there. I really can't. But people in the United States now know much more who we are than not. So it should be a lot of fun because I think a lot of people buying tickets for these shows know who Venrez is, and it's fun to blow people's mind and they don't know who you are, but it's also fun to kick ass on stage and have people there who do know who you are. Like I walked out. We're very famous in Italy. We played Alcatraz in Milan, and I walked out on stage to 5,000 people, and they're singing your songs back to you, and that is something I never experienced before.
Give you goosebumps?
It shivered me timbers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It did, and I can't wait for the day we're known well enough here to where that happens in the United States. Yeah, this is the country of where I was born, where I live, and it's the biggest market, and we're going to concentrate and pretty much tour the USA until everybody knows who the hell we are. That's the plan for the future.
Good. Well, that's a good segue to your current music. So Each and Every Day is the track that was my introduction to the band. I love it. Well, you'll hear it at the end of this interview, everybody. So tell us about, and that comes from the Purgatory EP.
Yeah, it's one of the 6 songs on Purgatory Awaits EP, our debut record with Pavement Entertainment, Sony Orchard. It's a great label. I mean, Ted Nugent, Puddle of Mud, Dishwalla, Candlebox, they're all on there. There's a new all-girl band that's blowing up on that label called Plush. Yeah. Who are doing great. And between Plush and us, as new bands on the rise, you're seeing that Pavement under our names on the radio charts. So I'm proud of being able to be one of a couple newer bands on that label that are making the label proud.
Yeah. Well, tell us about Each and Every Day, because that song, the few times I've gotten listened to it, I still have to do it a few more times. I every time I listen to new music, I like to listen a bunch of times because I hear different things each listen.
That's an interesting song. I usually
seems pretty serious.
I write about a lot of different things, from how I feel, life experiences, relationships. I always usually have take one or two shots at government and tyranny on records. Each and Every Day was a conglomeration of what I experienced during the COVID lockdowns and the George Floyd riots. I had a pretty nice apartment in the farmers market area by the Grove, and I was on the 4th floor, and I had a pretty good sized sun deck to look down on 3rd Street. And the first big riot in LA was literally right there. I mean, I had a front row center seat to this riot that I don't have any words to tell you how much fear that put through me, how it broke my heart to see such division and chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they literally destroyed entire city blocks of my neighborhood, and I felt like I couldn't protect myself. Thank God I was on the 4th floor, not in a house down there at street level. But
right,
that kind of shook me up really badly. And also this division in politics. And, I felt that we were probably having this country head back to overseas conflicts. And so I did sit down and I wrote each and every day. There's a key line in the song. When division is accepted as harmony, none of us are free. And I felt that's what the world was at that time, and I think it still is right now. And it's very, very sad.
It is sad for sure.
Because I come from the peace, love, and generation like you probably do.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm so anti-violence and war. And it really shook me up. So that was my song, kind of like to wake everybody up that, bad things are happening and it's not good for anybody. And the solution is for everybody to unify behind peace and love and give everybody the right to their own freedoms, beliefs, and thoughts without any discrimination or hate. I thought we were getting there when I was in my teens and 20s. It seems like over the last couple decades, we've gotten further and further away from it. And then again, Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addictions played drums on this song. He did rearrange it. There was no intro the way he put in it. He told me, he's like, I'm going to go Slipknot on this, And Richard Mulaney mixed the whole record except for this song. We had Malcolm Springer, the phenom producer engineer out of Nashville, Tennessee, he's had a lot of #1 hits. Just about all the Matchbox 20 hits were done by him. He mixed it, just loved it. And, I think in the future, the next record will definitely go to Nashville and record with him. So he did a really great job mixing it. And it rocks. It really does. I mean, after 3 weeks on radio, it's done very well. Tuesday will be top 40 on that SMR chart. So I'm just
fantastic.
The radio promoter with the first single, like, Humble Me. Do you think we got a chance to break the top 40? He's like, no, it's going a lot higher than that. #2 on Foundation, number 16, wasn't top 40, it was top 20 on the Billboard BDS. So, wow, we never been on radio before. I didn't expect that. And now each and every day on Tuesday will officially be top 40. So again, 2 songs off a 6-song EP being top 40 rock radio hits. I'm pretty proud of that.
You should be proud of that. That's a pretty big feat, especially the radio, the way it is today. Getting new bands added to a playlist is, damn near impossible. So
we're competing with everybody. Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, Greta Van Fleet, everyone. So for a new band kind of on the rise like us, it's a new band. We've been around 13 years, but this version's been around 4 years, and we got signed in 2021. So as far as I'm concerned, everything prior to 2021 doesn't count anymore.
Sure, I can understand.
So it is a new band, because with the new rhythm section, and in the beginning they were playing songs other guys recorded, but we wrote all these songs together on this EP. And, so they, on the last tour, they finally made the songs their own, but these are their songs. We all wrote, recorded these together, whether, they were final or in demo format. My bass player came up with the bass line, Gabe Maska, for Show Me, which was the first radio single. You can watch the video on YouTube. Show Me by Venrez. We're not going to do a video on each and every day, because we're going to finish up touring here with Buckcherry and, head into the studio at the end of the year and start recording the new album. And we've got about 74 songs to choose from. So we'll see We'll see what
So,
happens with that.
so the next record should be a full album, then, not an EP.
It depends. Universal had some serious interest in us literally weeks before the pandemic shut down in March. Malcolm Springer does a lot of work for Universal artists. He works out of a Universal-owned studio in Nashville, Tennessee. The radio promoter, Eric Baker, who's promoted our first single and the current single, works a lot with Universal bands, and our management, Bob Chaparty of Concrete Marketing, has a very close relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to, after this tour, I think they're all going to be talking to those guys and see if they want to add us to the Universal roster. And if that happens, then we'll probably do a 10 to 12 song LP with Malcolm Springer producing and mixing. If not, we'll stay with Pavement and probably do a 6 or 7 song EP again, but we will still go to Nashville and have Malcolm Springer produce and mix that. So stay tuned. I mean, more shall be revealed. We'll see what all this divine intervention has to say once we get to around November. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. We'll be one or the other. But all I can tell you is whether it's a new 10 or 12 song LP or a 6 or 7 EP, you guys are going to hear some killer tracks. I mean, Jason and I have written some monstrous songs since we recorded Purgatory.
Awesome. Well, I'll look forward to hearing that when it's done. And now too, you mentioned Show Me. So I think I'm going to add that to the end of the interview too. So
yeah, that was the first radio single. Actually, we released the video on our own, and that's what got us signed. And Eric Baker, the radio promoter, talking to Tim King, the vice president of Pavement, they really wanted Each and Every Day to be the first single. And so that's why we had Malcolm Springer mix it. But Tim King was brilliant, the vice president of our label, Pavement Entertainment out of Chicago.
mm-hmm.
We are signed to a Chicago label. It's really a Sony label out of Chicago. And he wanted to go with Show Me. And, I think he was right. I think a lot of times with a record, you put your second best single out first and the best one second. And that's what's happened. And I think that's working very well to our advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I obviously Show Me will be new for me. I haven't heard it, but I'm sure that's true because the track I have heard obviously is so strong, which we'll get into in just a few minutes.
Okay.
If anybody wants to now, the EP, obviously we know today you can download everywhere. Is there a physical form of it as well if somebody wanted a CD?
Yeah, it's since we're signed to Pavement, which is Sony Orchard, and they own the licensing rights for 3 years on all those songs. So you can buy it at, in a record store or on Amazon. If you go to our website, Venrez, the band, Venrez, theband.com, if you scroll down, it says get the EP here. If you click on that link, it'll take you to a Sony Orchard retailer and you can buy it there. I think it's going for $9.98.
Perfect.
But I can't sell it on my website. I can sell my indie records on my website. So that's how you get it. You just Purgatory Awaits by Venrez. Just go to Amazon.com and that's the best place to buy it.
Perfect. Yeah, and everybody, if you want to learn more about Venrez, please visit their website, as you said, Venrez, theband.com. And starting next Saturday, if you're in a town they're passing through, catch them out on the road with Buckcherry. I hope you have a great tour starting next week. I'm sure you will, and you're throughout the month of August. And we'll be looking for more music coming soon from you too.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Another summer tour. It's been a while. We usually are touring in the cooler months, freezing our butts off, getting sick. But, this is tank tops, light pants, sun and fun. And I can't wait. I'm so excited.
That's great. It's great. Well, I wish you well on the tour and obviously continued success with the EP as well. It sounds like you're in good shape there. So that's fantastic. So Ven, thanks for coming by Radio Bypass and telling us about your band. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. All right,
All right.
everybody, don't leave. We're wrapping up the talking part, but now it's time to let the music do the talking. So I think we're going to go in the exact order that we discussed. I want you to hear Each and Every Day because that's a track I've been listening to over the last week repeatedly. And I'd like all of you guys to hear it. So check out Each and Every Day from Venrez, and then we'll go right into Show Me as well to wrap things up. Again, Ven, thank you. And thank you, Radio Bypass, for checking out yet another great band creating rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. And if you get a chance, check them out on tour this month with Buckcherry.
Go.